tell you good night, 'cause I'll find a better one. Yeah, susceptible now before the moment flies. Ooh, so tell you good night, 'cause I'll find a better one. Ooh, susceptible now before the moment flies. It's not a problem, no, 'cause I know what I'm getting into. Yes. Yeah, and nothing can stop me. No, 'cause I'm addicted to what you and I realize. Either way, I follow. No need to say where we are heading now, babe. I follow to the edge of it all. So tell you good night, 'cause I'll find a better one. Yeah, susceptible now before the moment flies. Before it flies. So tell you good night, 'cause I'll find a better one. Susceptible now before the moment flies.
All right, what is going on, guys? What's up, Locked In Nation? Welcome back. Welcome back to the Locked In Podcast, episode 102. Episode 102 on this beautiful, to be honest, crisp fall evening, Thursday, October 20th, guys. We are your home for personal development tips, sports news, music, and much, much more. So, like I said, episode 102 tonight, guys. What we are talking about. We're back in the personal development sector of the podcast. We've been in for a little bit, but we try to stay pretty consistent on this side of it. Tonight we are talking about small habits that ultimately can help you to live a happier and stress-free life. And these are habits that we attempt to implement every single day in our lives. We're also going to talk morning and night routines. When we first started this podcast, that was one of the first, I think, 10 episodes of this podcast was morning and night routines. We hadn't probably since 2020. So we'll talk about our 2022 morning and night routines as well. Maybe you guys can get some inspiration for it. First of all, we are your hosts for the evening. As always, I am Steve Ushler, and joined alongside me is my brother from another on the other end of the mic. He is my co-host. He is my friend, George Menchai. George, what's up, brother?
Yo,
what's up?
What's going on, man? Brother from another. How you feeling today? How you doing?
How much, man?
Good little introduction. Good.
Feeling good, man. How are you? How are you doing tonight, man? And how is your week going?
Going good, bro. Going good. I'm doing fantastic. I'm good, man. Just productive day. Very long.
That's good.
It's been kind of like more like just like work, home, other stuff going on. Just work stress, but nothing crazy. Nothing that the G-Man can handle. So everything's been good, actually. Today we had a little different topic, like you said, something we kind of a little bit of revisiting, as well as some other parts to it. So it's like another setup, different setup, guys, for a little bit of the promo. Some of the promo came a little earlier, some a little later, but it's just how things kind of went this week. And we like I said on one of the posts, we reached the hundreds in digits now. So this is 102, as we know. So I mean, we're going forward, doing big things and looking good, staying strong.
Exactly. Just essentially one of the things you're going to hit tonight, just trying to get 1% better. As cliche as that does sound, getting 1% better every single day, guys. Remember, it is a marathon in life. It is not a sprint. That's a cliche statement, but it is very true from personal experiences. As you start to, try to obtain success, you will understand and notice that two things, guys, before we, play the intro and kind of just dive right into this topic tonight. Number one, if you honestly if you honestly see me looking up at any moment during the podcast, you're probably going to see me doing that a lot. So I have a different little bit of a setup going on right now with my tech. So I got, a couple new monitors and stuff going all around. So I got my comments up there. So if you guys see me looking at the comments or anything, you might see me looking up and be like, what the hell is he doing?
Same here. My comments are right here to the right, which would look to the left to you because the screens are a certain way. But my comments are on another screen. I got some here. I got my phone. I get emails or notifications for here from the page, the podcast page, or reaction to stories. People sometimes react to stories. Yeah, we're busy, man. Definitely. It's good to change. I saw your setup of your room or your office rather there. You look kind of sharp, So don't worry, guys. Soon, before you know it, we'll definitely have to do some studio sessions there, and do some podcasts within the studio at some point. So that's what we're kind of working towards.
I essentially just want you to understand that I'm not distracted. That's our podcast name says here, locked in. So I'm just looking up at comments or filling with my tech stuff behind the scenes. And number two, Wi-Fi is kind of holding up. I just noticed, one of the two of the feeds of the last ones were a little bit slow. So I hope you guys can hear me and see me clearly. The stream tonight, plan to go maybe for about an hour tops on this one tonight. But guys, lock your comments in here tonight. Maybe you guys have morning or routines or habits that you implement daily. Some of them might be similar to ours. Some of them might be different. But whatever the case may be, we're on the personal development side. We're all here to help each other. That's what this community is about. That's the reason we started this podcast. So if you can offer tips in the comments that can help somebody else or help us, or, we can help you. That's what this is all about right here. This is why we do it. The man hours in every single week to bring this content to you. So drop those comments. But before we kind of dive into the actual topic tonight, the intro, try to keep it pretty quick. And then we will see you guys on the other side. All right, guys. So anybody who's tuning in after, as we said here at the Locked In Podcast, what we're covering tonight is back on the personal development sector side of the podcast with small yet effective habits that you can ultimately carry out in order to help you live a happier, stress-free life. Our morning and night routines as well. But like we said, we're planning to go about full 60 minutes, a full hour on this one. So hopefully we can make it a pretty cool discussion. Let's rock on. So habits, right? As simple as it sounds, sometimes it's hard to break bad habits and it's hard to implement good habits. But they're very, very important, right? You need routine, you need structure, you need discipline, you need habits, and effectively you need positive habits, good habits that can ultimately get you to where you want. I assume that everybody in this life probably wants to attain some type of level of success. But in order to do that, you're going to have to figure out which habits you will need to build and to ultimately maintain in order to get where you want to be. I can be honest when I tell you that we're probably all creatures of habit. Essentially, we get stuck in our ways, and a lot of times, it impedes us from being open-minded to trying new things and to trying to change our ways. But it's very, very important to do so. I can tell in my early 20s, I was someone who didn't really have amazingly great habits. It took time and discipline. And one of the things that I'm going to tell you in order to be able to build good habits is one of the things I ultimately was able to do in order to start building great habits. And I'm not going to start with the cliche saying. I'm actually going to start with that point right now. And it is to try to find yourself a mentor. I think that that's very, very important, is to have a mentor in your life, because if you hang around a circle that everybody thinks like-mindedly, like if you have a like-minded friend circle or family circle, you're not really going to get to, and say those people are not at the successful level that you want. I think it's important to find a mentor who is at that level and be able to learn and grow from them, because they will be able to kind of steer you in that correct direction. And I was blessed to stumble a few mentors in my life that were able to help me in that area. George, I'm not sure if you can relate. I'm sure you can, because I know a couple guys in your circle that I've personally met that seem like they're really pretty successful people, good dudes, and also, women as well. I'm pretty sure you can probably relate to that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, like you said, it's good to kind of know what you're doing and be around like-minded people. But if you're too around like-minded people and you feel like they're seeing the same thing and feel like people are not holding you back, but feel like they're not really kind of thinking outside the box, you gotta sometimes not as distance, but kind of just seek some other stuff and meet up with different people. Introduce yourself to stuff, different new venues in life, and that's how you kind of expand your horizon a little bit. So having a mentor can help. People that can put you down to things, people that have made it, bosses, richer guys, guys that are older than you that have the wisdom and have done well for themselves. And it's definitely, it's definitely a good source to have, and another extra, sort of resource, and have friends like that. Not only connections, but people you could call a friend, who's a mentor. Because you could take a little break and go for a drink and smoke a cigar and talk about some important stuff about what's going on, about life itself. Yeah, I got some, we both of us know people like that. I got people actually I've met even more recently like that, and I've known for years as well. And it's good to know some people like that in life. It's a lot of good people out there that do good, and when you kind of get to that level, you kind of it's like you become a mentor in a way, to others that are coming after, maybe younger guys looking up to you a little bit. Before you know it, man, it. We're all kind of teachers, and we all can teach somebody something. So we all kind of here for a purpose,
Exactly. It's essentially a circle. So you can essentially learn and grow from somebody else, and you can kind of give back that energy back into the world. Tony Robbins once had a saying. I'm trying to think of it right now. I kind of had it written down, but it was something. It was you're not remembered. I forget exactly what the quote was, but essentially it meant it's not about what you have. I know this is kind of cliche, but things, but the whole point of it was you're going to be remembered for what you gave in this life. The impact that you ultimately made on the world is going to be what you will be remembered by. So that kind of goes into that mentor thing. Give back. You bring that energy into the world. And I can't believe I'm blanking on the quote here, but it was in one of his more recent books. But it's a great quote, to be honest. It's a great quote. I'll find it later. But ultimately, that's one of them, to find the man. Another one, and George, I'm sure you can relate to this one as well. And this is a rather cliche one, but it ultimately is you want to essentially try to build a positive habit and just improve 1% every single day. Now, what does that mean? So say you're effectively trying to, start working out, eating healthy, losing weight. I'm just going to use that as an example. Essentially, if you just think you're just going to go cold turkey and just change up everything right off the bat, you're going to change your eating habits, go completely strict. You're going to get into a crazy workout routine where you're somebody who really is not accustomed to working out, whether it be in the gym or outside, whatever the case may be. That might work for a short-term result, but it's going to be hard to keep that, because you're not going to have anything to really improve on. It's going to be difficult for you to have that to be able to keep that up long-term. Whereas if you literally attempt to just get 1% better every single day by taking small steps, eventually you can eventually those small steps over, a month, 2 months, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, it's going to be a big difference when you look back. And you'll be able to kind of sustain that because you kind of coaxed yourself into it. Whereas if you go right into it, wow, cool, that could be great. But it's very difficult to maintain that long term. You have much more of a chance of slipping up and going back to your old ways. You should be like, this is too damn hard because you really did not adapt. Your mindset didn't have the opportunity to really adapt into that situation.
You got to adapt to it, correct.
Try to improve yourself 1% every single day. I think you can agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, but I like what you said there too. Like you said, people is right. A lot of times go back to old habits. It's important that you kind of like try to like get the right mind, mind frame. Where kind of like you're not gonna go back to those old habits because you know they can lead to something like that. It wasn't doing any good. I mean, as humans, as human creatures, we're gonna do something like that. It happens. We're humans. Sometimes you go back to something like that, but you go back to old habit. You think, oh well, I'm doing much better now. Let's stick to the new habit and not go back to the old habit. People that actually want to change and want to learn, bro, and do that can do that. But I do agree with you that sometimes you can go back to everything else like that, and you can fall into some old habits. Are we echoing there? Or we're good? I thought I heard an echo.
I don't hear an echo on my end. Do you?
No, you're good. That was just because of it froze for a second. It wasn't a connection echo. It was more because the Wi-Fi froze for a second. It was all good. All good.
Okay.
Clear.
Okay.
But yeah. So
I have some more habits as well, but I'll ask you, man, what is something that you think is a small habit that somebody can implement, somebody can adopt, that ultimately will allow them to essentially a more stress-free life and essentially a more happier life?
I mean, a habit that you said it was a question somebody can like tell you, or something that like I think it's.
No, something you think is a good small habit that somebody can implement in order to live a more stress-free life.
Well, one of, like I said, I've said this in the past in some episodes here and in other like on surveys and interviews I've done or like other podcasts and stuff like that. But I've talked about it in even some IG lives that I think organizing your time a little better and sort of like doing a little bit every day, like you said, small steps every day help, and also organizing your time and writing a lot of stuff down that you want to achieve and try to get actually. And also another trick is don't write a bunch of stuff down and then you don't know what to do first. Write like a couple goals for like the previous day or the next 2 to 3 days. Start with like 2 days and do the whole week, and then try to get your tasks to do and get them done. Write things to remind yourself to not forget. That's another one. So write things that to remember, like to stuff you got to do. Also, take time to kind of like balance it out and be able to schedule your stuff, whatever you got to do. That day to be productive. And like so you don't rush for time. You don't get pressed for time. You're not like like in a pickle. Like you got to do something at that moment. I think it's important to kind of like organize your time. And when you do that, I think you see some results. That's one of them,
Yeah, it's a good point because I was actually going to kind of the point. Organization, structure, discipline. When you have no organization in your life, it causes a lot of stress. Right? Because when you're cluttered, when you're constantly looking for things, your spaces are not organized, it becomes much more difficult. So what I would say, whether it be your office, your bedroom, your car, your computer, organize things. Just take the time, whether it's once a week, whether it's once a month, to declutter. I think it's very, very important to declutter because when you're looking for something, that's time wasted, right? The more you're scrambling, the more you're like, oh, I got to catch up. When you know where things are, you're already organized. It's a rest. If you want to build habits in the direction that are going to help you to live more stress-free. Clutter builds stress. It's its own,
Definitely.
Think about that for a second. When you're stressed, when you're cluttered, you're probably going to panic a little bit, stress a little bit, especially if you're already not in a great mood. Would you agree with?
Yeah. I would say that basically it kind of comes down to like when you wake up in the morning and you have a messy room, it creates like this kind of like perception like everything's a mess, and then it gives like a weird mood kind of. It's almost like it triggers you, but in a good way. But if you fix your bed, fix your room, clean everything up, it kind of like gives you an idea like everything's organized. And if it doesn't go that great, you still have like your room looks nice, your bed is made, like like the saying says. Like I've actually seen this on YouTube once too and on IG that it was supposed to like start your day clean by working out, stretching out, you wash up, right? You make your bed right away, like And you waking up early too. That's a very big one. I don't always wake up early, but especially now. But when I do, I get good results too. Waking up early is big.
Yeah. I mean, that's a
given. That's kind of like
a
an easy
habit.
one, but yeah. I would
I
say
like
that's
that
a good one.
because I think that's a fairly obvious one, right? I mean, because when you wake up early at first, you hate it, but afterwards, if you can wake up and honestly get a lot done before, say, the average person works before work and you get a lot done, you're able to get to the gym, you're able to get a routine, and we'll talk about our morning and our night routines after this portion of the podcast. But when you're able to essentially, get up and have a productive morning where you're able to get some things done during the quiet time, right? Because nobody's really bugging you essentially at the early portion of the morning. But I do want to make the disclaimer that everybody might be different because it depends on when you work and what your shifts are. It's important to understand that. As someone who worked their shift myself for 6 years, I understand that. But now I am on a regular schedule where I am working typical office hours. But in the morning, say you work out, for the sake of this argument, typical office hours, you're working 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, whatever it is. You get up in the morning before work, and you're able to knock out a lot of things. You're able to, work out, anything you have going on. It might not just even be a gym workout. It might be a gym workout in very quickly, a 30-minute workout, and then, meditating, journaling. Those are two things that take pretty quickly. And then essentially, say you're working on a side business, and you're going to have to the office. So you want to get any work that you have to do for the side business done early in the morning, or say you want to just, whatever it is, whatever you got going on, you're working on some type of project, and you get that done before you head into the office or before you head to work. Whatever you're doing, you might not be working in the office, might work a blue collar job, whatever it is. You feel great, right? Because that's time
right
you had to get things done beforehand. And a lot of times in the early portion of the morning, you're waking up at 5, you're waking up at 4, you're waking up at 6. It's quiet time because essentially people are not bugging you, bombarded, distracted with text messages. You're not getting bombarded.
People are not calling you. They're not bugging you.
People in their BS, people in their stuff, like distracting you with those early hours of the morning. So you're get more done without distractions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would agree with
Good
that.
point for waking up early.
Good point. Yeah. The good point with like the no distraction part, like waking up really early too. Sometimes, bro, I could get up at 7 in the morning if I sleep at like 12 at night, even 12:30 sometimes. I could get up at like I could be up in the morning by 7:30. Sometimes at 6 if I sleep at 11, which is very rare for me, very very rare. But sometimes I don't go to sleep till close to like 5 in the morning, like 4:30, 5 in the morning, and I get up at like 11
because of your work schedule.
Yeah, so it's like, and then days I can sleep in. I don't got work. When I need a job, I can sleep till 1 sometimes. But I'm like, I don't like that. But it happens because I'm so clustered right now. My sleeping patterns and my time. So it's hard. So I need time off from the club too. And from my other job too. But my one job, you can't take too much time off. But the other one you can. The two other ones, So. But
right.
Takes like anyway. Go back to what I just say. It takes time. You gotta organize your time a certain way. Have your stuff ready and don't overwork yourself too. I had friends tell me that like sometimes you put too much on your plate, and that's happened to me. I've been guilty of it too, as I guess we all have some kind of way. That could be really sometimes that you mentioned do too much and you consume yourself. You're kind of like you exhaust yourself, so to speak. Does it make sense?
It does make sense.
Like
one of the things I would actually recommend that a lot of people don't talk about this. Leave room in the middle of your schedule. If you're going from one to the next with no time in between, leave a little bit of buffer time in between for obstacles, because most of us, right, we don't look for obstacles in our daily life. Obstacles are bound to happen. You're not going to live a life where every single day you do not.
It's like this. It's smooth. Exactly. Waters are going to be a little shaky. Not always clear.
Leave some buffer time, whether it's a half hour, an hour in between when you're going to go do something. If you're going to go work and you're going to right to the gym, and it's like, okay, I got to get to the gym by this time, because if I don't, I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to be able to do that, and it's going to throw off my whole day. Leave some buffer time. Don't overschedule yourself too much, but leave that buffer time in between, because obstacles are bound to happen. And guess what? If they don't do what you have to do, but leave some buffer time. A lot of people don't talk about that enough, because I'm someone who, when I start to get behind, I start to get stressed, and that leaving that little bit of buffer time will honestly be helpful in allowing you to be a little bit more stress free. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like you just said, stress, bro, can be created by a lot of things. We create stress a lot of times as people. All you could do is focus on what you got to do, bro. Everything else kind of comes with it. You know what I mean? Forget people like, calling you, texting you. You do what you got to do. People don't distance themselves. That's on them. But when everything goes well, they'll be back around too. And you sometimes got to just take time for yourself to, see kind of tunnel vision a little bit. Meaning that, like, if you have a long day, kind of see through a little and see, like, you're going to get all your goals done. I mean, sometimes you can miss something. That's cool. But do it the next day, though. Like, try to be very specific. I think the key word is disciplined. It's key. Consistent and stay on top of it, where even if you say you're gonna do it later, you don't forget it, procrastinate, because it's very easy to forget something, like especially if you don't set up your clock, your alarm, or something like that, and it goes like, yo, next thing you know, it's like, oh, I was gonna do this at this time, now it's like 9:30, like, oh, I forgot, what the fuck. I've seen it happen,
Guys,
bro. You can't just split your time. You got to be very strategic. You got to move a certain way, militant, and get stuff done as much as you can, but do it at the right time, so
that is true. One of the things I will tell you is be prepared to fail.
You're gonna forget stuff. You're gonna fail things, bro. Shit happens.
Embrace it. That's the key there. Embrace it. Because guess what? If you can embrace it, that's the easiest part about it. It's like, embrace failure. The most successful people in the world, they fail multiple times over.
Yeah.
I would honestly tell you they're probably the people who fail the most are the people who are the most successful. Because you're not afraid of failure. It's going to happen. People who take the most chances, the people who put themselves out there to fail, are the ones who are going to be the most successful. So if you're chasing a certain type of success, I know that's another thing. It's very cliche. You've heard this a ton of times, right? But I'm just instilling it back to you because this is very true. I'm just going off of basically like what I've learned throughout my life. But it's very true. These things aren't just cliches for a reason. You know what I mean? They are very true. Embrace that failure because it's all right to fail. Every single day, it doesn't mean you're going to do one thing to the other without any failure because of obstacles or anything like that,
It's good to have a peace of mind, bro. It's okay to fail knowing that you tried hard. It's okay to change. People are generally scared of change, but you can't really let that consume you fear. You can't just be like, scared, and because you're scared, you're going to stay behind. You got to just go, forward a little bit. Change is not a bad thing. It's just that when something's new, you don't know it quite yet. It's like a mechanism that the person, the psychology, the human psychology thinks. You think like, oh, let me just do what I do because I'm comfortable here. You got to step out your comfort zone. I got news for you. It's 2022. You got to, move on. You got to do other stuff too. I mean, it's what I'm saying. Like, it's okay to, if you fail at one place, go somewhere else. If you fall here, get up, try it again. Be stronger next time. It's like you go to the gym. I go to the gym, right? If you can't bench the one thing, but now after a month of training, now you've done it, or you can do 10 extra push-ups because you're tired, you have a bad arm, maybe you're injured. But come next week, now you got stronger again. You're better, back on track. Now you could kill those extra 10 push-ups. You can do 50. Start from 50 going down. I used to do back in the day, we used to do 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. And then one for a good measure. After doing rounds of Muay Thai on kickboxing, this will be brutal. So sometimes you feel doing that, but you haven't done it in a while, so you can't do like the 50. You can do 40 and then down. Now you can do 50 and down. You know what I mean? Like you can add 10 more. It's just pressure. It's just that extra, the next level to to achieve, to go forward. You need the strength and the perseverance to kind of go forward, bro. But like I said, habits do bring you down and create, and the obstacles are not habits, but they're just as bad. They're out there to hold you down. Habits can be considered obstacles in life, because they can bring you down. People that consume your energy, your time, things that don't matter. Addictions, all kinds of stuff. Time consumers. We could do my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, but we could do a whole episode on time consumers. What kills time? Man, we got a lot of those we could talk about, but that's content for another episode, perhaps.
Yeah, I think we've touched.
We talked a little about it.
But if you guys want to,
productivity killers.
Yeah, productivity killers. Exactly. We've touched that a couple times, but no, you're absolutely right, and that goes kind of back to the 1% every day thing, right? As weightlifters, I'm a weightlifter myself. I've been in the gym, and it's frustrating to hit a plateau. This metaphor can not just be used in the gym, but in real life. But you hit a plateau, but people want to rush to the next result. But you're exactly right. Injuries happen. Things happen to your body. That's an obstacle, right? You wake up and you're feeling some sort of issue you can push through, but then there's like another one when you get there and you can't push through that.
Yeah.
Look, eventually you're going to be able to recover to that strength, and you're going to be able to, make those obstacles. I forget what that in weight training, but it's essentially incremental increases. You go 1 week, you up the weight 5 pounds. The next week, 5 pounds the next week, 5 pounds the next week. When I hit a plateau where you're only able to stay at that 5 pounds you were at, and then you 5 pounds the next, you know what I mean? Like, that's honestly like the building blocks of life as well. You know, it's small changes, small habits. Because this life is not a sprint; it's a marathon. If you want to get where you want to be, people tend to look at other people right on social media. I'll use it as an example, and they tend to see somebody at 30 has something that you don't have. You're like, damn, how did they get that young? Well, people don't really see the full picture. It's not that really something was handed to them. Now, I'm not saying people don't get handouts or something like that, but the more likely option is that person probably put the work in when you were more, and that's okay. But I'm saying, like, we tend to see people's pictures and we're like, how did they get there so quick? To them, it probably wasn't quick. It was probably 10 years constant hard work and dedication and increases and failing and not being afraid to take risks. And people really tend to not understand that. It is a marathon, not a sprint. We can honestly just help you to provide the tools, and you have to have the mindset, right? So this community is about helping each other. I see Devin had commented. I wanted to kind of put it up. He said, sending home money sometimes with clutter, and you need to sort it out.
That's true, Devin. Yeah. Definitely.
And this one was Devin as well. She said 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes a day equals 1% growth over a full year. So a lot of times when they tell you about working out 30 minutes a day, right? That's the recipe they start at for people who are beginning 20 to 30 minutes every single day, along with an effective diet where you're just changing small portions of your eating habits. So you're eating unhealthy.
Everything starts
and
small.
You cut out turkey and you drink soda. Just cut out soda, or say you drink 5 glasses of soda a day. Cut it down to 3 or 4. Eventually, cut that out, and then you make the other changes. It's small things. If you guys ever have questions for us too, from our expertise, you can always reach out to us. I always say that you can reach out to us. You can DM us on the podcast pages, on Instagram, or you can reach out to us personally, or same thing on Facebook. That's what this community is about. You know, we're here to help each other, and I feel like we've all gone through different trials and tribulations in life, and we've along the way. So I would say we can all help each other here. Parents are helping them behind the scenes and stuff. It is true. I feel like sometimes that's where people's mind goes first. They're like, oh, somebody, you know what I mean? Like, we tend to get a little jealous, and we go, oh, they somebody helped them get that. I see it all the time, to be honest. And I kind of used to be somebody who was
question
like that,
too much. Just kind of like focus on yourself.
There's no doubt that.
I mean, but you know what you're saying.
That's true sometimes that people are helping them out. But even if they are, whatever, that's not our circumstances. So, but a lot of the time, I feel like a lot of the time somebody's worked that hard to get somewhere, and then people discredit it by going, oh, somebody probably did something.
Give it to him, or he got it from somewhere else.
It's not essentially.
He bought it for dirty money. The old saying, yeah.
Sometimes it could be true though. Agreed there.
Yeah.
I kind of want to dive in since we're over the halfway point of this. I'm into the morning and nighttime routines on this. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to start with the morning routine because that is, I honestly have a pretty disciplined morning routine, but I do switch it up a little bit just to keep it a little bit exciting, because routines aren't always exciting, but I feel like when you have a little bit of change in them, the word routine is there for a reason because you're constantly doing the same things, but you can reorder the way things sometimes. Which I think is important. But I want to start with morning routine because you'll kind of see my nighttime routine. It more varies. I don't really have a super disciplined nighttime routine at this point in my life in 2022. I think I had a more disciplined one in 2020 when I covered this. But right now, where my life is kind of structured at this point, it's not super disciplined. It is a little bit, but not crazy. Morning routine more so because I'm starting my day. But I do think a night routine is a little bit important because it's how you're going to end your day, so you can be refreshed for the next day. George, I'll start off with mine in a minute, but since I started off the last one, I'll let you kick this one off, man. Morning routine. I know your schedule is all over the place, but you are working a third shift job at this point, so your morning could be 12 noon, whatever it is, whatever you're starting your day.
My morning could be any morning. It could be like any time in the morning from 6 a.m. to about 1 p.m. Let's put it that way, just to start off. So Like I've been a morning person in the past, bro. As you already know, one of my other jobs, which I was there for like almost 9 years, close give or take. Uh, I would work a lot of morning shifts. It wasn't just a morning shift. I did the night shift as well, which was relatively short compared to what I do now. Now I don't do second. I was doing second shift then. Now I'm doing more like third shift. Sometimes, I mean, not so much the second shift, more like the first shift, or I guess, I mean, like 10 to about 4, or sometimes 12 to 5, which would do my other job from home. It's not really a, I guess it's like a kind of midday shift. And yeah, it's like a day shift still. Although it's not 9 to 5 and it's not like 7 to 3, like early morning. But I got up early in the morning, bro. And I also got up later in the morning. Right now, my morning could be like a 9 a.m. day, 8:30, 9 a.m. And I skate in at my job at like 11, work from home. I could take a nap between 11 and like 4. So say like 1 o'clock, I could take a little nap for like an hour, half an hour. I could work, but I usually get some stuff done, and I do what I got to do. I eat, whatever, get my errands, and. At this time, I also go out a little, come back, but I don't go out too much because I got a lot of responsibilities kind of in between, the way my day's set up a little bit. Might go to the gym for a little bit, might do something. Sometimes I'll, do stuff for the family, whatever. Part of my job is also to do that, you know what I mean? And I do other stuff like in between, like I might go train, do some MMA, some rounds in the morning, but I prefer night when I have the chance. But the morning training is really nice, though. It's something about the 10 a.m. training in the morning. It's really good. Whether it's lifting or hitting weights or running or bodybuilding stuff or MMA and boxing and jiu-jitsu.
Because you know it's
judo,
something.
all that, Muay Thai.
It's because you know it's something that's contributing to a positive portion of your life, right? Because
right. Exactly. It's progression too. So it's looking good, bro. I'm looking good with that too. Recently, I went back to training like more focused on that, That's which is why, again, I was telling you even early behind the scenes that some podcasts might be on a Wednesday only because I need some Thursdays off and this and that. But we'll get to that, a little later. And again, that's something which you'll take over, over a period of time. But basically, my routine is in the morning. I'll do some walking or some running if I get up on time. I'll go to the gym. I'll train there. I'll spar a little bit, and then I'll come back at night. I might go do some rolling, or I might do some fight principles. One of the gyms here. I might go do some boxing. I hit the bag, hit the speed bag, or go to my man's basement and train with him a little bit. John Pro's got a big basement. He's got mats. We train there. I might go teach classes. Some of the gyms that I go to. That's what you do when you're like an MMA guy. You're kind of like filtered in like that, bro. You're connected like that. I mean, there's different places and all that. People sometimes want to train with me, and like I've said in the past, I do charge small percentage, just because most of my time, I'm not really trying to make too much money out of this, although I am, but it's more like I got the jobs for that. I'm just, just trying to train and get some certificates. I've trained people in the past. I got paid to do it too. I got paid to fight.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, you provide service. You also obviously, want to make sure you get compensated for your time, right? Because our time is valuable here. Not everything can be charity, right? We want to help each other, right? But sometimes, if the help is going to be valuable, people will be willing to pay for that service. At the end of the day, we all have hopes and dreams, and if you do have to charge whatever you have to charge, it's you're trading your time and a service for the income.
Something. It's all good, bro. Like I said, that's how it kind of works. Exactly. It's kind of it kind of works a little bit. So now days that I work, for example, that like I don't got time to do that. When I get up, I'll try either like I take the day off or I'll train on my own or I'll go somewhere again to like a friend or two. And I keep it small and then we just kind of train there. I could do weights in there or some cardio. You got the bike and all, they got the weights or the gym thing. So I'll do like some pad work or training. Again, some people charge, some I don't. Sometimes it's strange to do it. Sometimes I get my own work in. Sometimes I don't know as much, like you said. It's a training service or something else. Keep it simple. But that keeps me, definitely focused and motivated. Of course, the gym does and going in. I ain't no fitness guru, but I do know a thing or two. And, I do lift and go to the gym pretty regularly. Just that lately with the injury that I had recently, that's finally getting better now. I haven't really went as much, but I did go back recently to the gym. Early October. I just kind of started back in October, so.
It's good, man. Yeah. That can be one of the biggest things. I will kind of tell you, break down my morning routine step by step right now. I do want to say that I do restructure it depending on the day of the week and how I'm feeling. Sometimes I try to kind of plan that the day before, but sometimes I'll still have the same routine, but it'll just be different order depending on how I'm feeling. So one of the first things I do when I get up, now I know in 2020 when I had said this, I was like, don't check your phone and stuff. Right now, because I have so many different things going on my phone, I'm checking emails. I'm just trying to make sure that there's nothing crazy going on at the moment. So one of the first things I do when I wake up is I just check my phone very briefly. I look at my emails, I look at my texts, make sure there's nothing too crazy. Make sure there's nothing crazy going on. Second thing I do is I like to stay hydrated. So I always keep water next to my bed. I will always drink some water early in the morning. Room temperature, I'll go downstairs and get some cold water, and just drink a glass of cold water in order to start my day off right. And I'll take my multivitamin and my fish oil, and that's kind of like the start right there. But then when I get out of bed too, I always I'll come back up and I will make my bed. So my day kind of goes off of organization. It starts with a task, making my bed. And one of the best quotes you can learn is that even if you had a very crappy day, you come home to a bed made. So
Yeah, I mentioned earlier.
if everything else went wrong in your day, you still, you have your bed made when you come home to it. There you go, right? So I make my bed, and I swap two things. So sometimes I will start working early in the morning to kind of get into that flow. I'll start my work day, depending on if I'm doing something for my side hustle or I'm doing something for my actual job, my office job. I will start working. I work from home, so essentially I have all my setup right here, so I can start working in the morning, or I will go to the gym first thing in the morning to start. Now, lately, I haven't been doing weightlifting in the morning. It's mainly just been strictly cardio, and I've been kind of saving my weightlifting for after work, for the evenings. Some go on my lunch mid-afternoon, but I've been kind of just doing cardio early in the morning. But sometimes from weightlifting the night before, you feel real sore first thing in the morning, so I'll start working in the morning. After about 2 hours, I will get to the gym to do cardio. And then we'll come home, I'll shower, and then go back to work. Sometimes I will just go right to the gym in the morning, come home, shower, then start my work day. It really, really depends. One of the big things I have in the morning is a skincare routine as well, where I know we talked about grooming last week, where I just, wash my face with a face wash and an AM moisturizer. Still, I wash my face with a face wash and a PM moisturizer before bed. To keep that skin looking on point and good, right? Because that's what we talked about last week. Grooming habits got to be on point, guys, especially for you gentlemen out there, because I feel like it's an area that we sometimes lack. Important, So how about you, bro? Like, what else? What else do you have in your morning routine?
Yeah, basically the email thing. So after I wake up, I like to wake up and kind of stretch around and do some meditating, even some yoga if I can. But I usually don't get to do all that. If I can, though, it's always in the back of my mind. At one point, I was doing it a lot. I was actually going to yoga classes at my old job at the Protestant when I used to work at PPH years ago. And I would go there they had a yoga instructor there. So it was actually pretty dope. If you were a worker, you could do it. And you'd be surprised how many old folks do yoga. And it helps. I mean, it's very healthy for you. Get the blood flowing, you stretch, you feel good. You put some relaxing music. You should put some good music on. And it was like a good yoga session. It used to be like 4 or 5 people by the pool there, in a section of the building there. So we used to do it there. But I also used to go to a yoga center at one point. I went to a place where they did some yoga. So I'm a little familiar. But yeah, kind of like you, bro. After I use the bathroom and all that, wash up and all that, get ready to come downstairs, I kind of like go downstairs and I'm make something to eat. In the meantime, I've been up for like maybe 25 minutes at this point, 30 minutes if that. Check my phone. A lot of times I'll see my phone real quick, but I won't answer everybody right away. I'll go to the bathroom, whatever, do the more, where like I'll stretch it out first, go to the bathroom. Then after that, I'll start, I'll make a phone call or two if it's something important. If not, I'll just send them a reply to a message to and, just kind of go my day for a little bit. But that's when after the fact. After this, I'll go outside, either the gym or somewhere. Like, hit a bike
Try to
trail or
lock
something
in,
like
essentially. A good morning routine can honestly allow you to, it sets your day on a good note, it sets your day on a good precedent. It allows you to kind of focus, as our title kind of says here with the podcast, essentially lock in to your day and focus. It's a good point you brought on the yoga, meditation, and the journaling. So meditating, it's not something I've really been getting to a lot lately. Sometimes on the weekends, but not essentially during the week. To be honest, I've been more meditating. So on the weekends, I really haven't. I know it takes like 15 minutes, but I really haven't had the time as much as of late to realistically do that in the morning. But I do try to journal every day. I try to write down 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for that day, and then just essentially how I'm feeling that morning, and essentially where my energy's at, where I feel like I'm going to just kind of a reminder, like, you got this day. Like, at the end of the day, remember who you are. Like I'm gonna get done what I need to get done today. Remember who you are. Honestly, always remind yourself to remember who you are. But gratitude is very important, right? Mindfulness and gratitude. So I always try to remain grateful. And some of the most successful people I know are the most humble people. So a wise person once told me that everything can be taken away from you in an instant. And this is a person who I know is very successful. He said anything can be taken away from you in an instant. So always be mindful of that. Always be grateful. And remember, like, the things that you do have to be able to stay humble. It was important, to be honest. I think it was somewhat along the lines of their exact words. But it's definitely important. For sure. Journaling, vitamins. I have like 6 things. When I go to the gym, I try to listen to a portion of an audiobook, and then I'll usually pop on a podcast or a YouTube channel that I watch, a personal development YouTube channel. So I'll catch some things like at once while I'm like working out. And then, like I said, stay hydrated, stretch in the morning too. Stretch before and after a workout. So I'm doing cardio, I stretch before, and I stretch afterwards. It takes like 2 to 5 minutes. Stretch yourself out.
Do you run a lot? Like when you do your workouts, do you like do cardio first or run a little, then work out, then do like a light little outro, if you will, or do you just kind of like go back to cardio and then wait?
That is that first work. That is my morning workout usually. I don't weightlift every day. If I do weightlift, it's usually in the later portion of the day, but I do cardio because right now I am trying to I'm on like a little bit of a weight loss journey where I'm trying to like burn some fat, especially for like the holidays coming up and everything like that. So I have kind of implemented cardio into almost every workout, which is like that's the morning workout. But I don't weightlift every single day. I weightlift like 4 times a week, 4 days out of 7. And that's all I really need because I can hit every body part in those 4 workouts. I don't need 7 days of weightlifting. I only need 4. But when I'm doing cardio, I'm either treadmill incline on the walk, or I'm running on the treadmill at a flat pace. I'm doing the elliptical hit, so I'm going super intense, slow down, super intense, slow down, hit the Stairmaster, sometimes the bike. Stairmaster is a hell of a workout, but I'm usually left drenched by the time I'm done.
So yeah, definitely. I mean, again, you stay consistent and you lose weight, bro. Going to the gym is also one of the reasons I'd say that like it's a good habit to have to kind of live a less stressful life, because even if anything, dude, if it's not for you to keep up your body and be like a little more solid and put some weight on, some good weight and all that, and or be sharp or cut up or whatever the journey is. If it's not for that, it's just for your peace of mind. You go out there, you work out a little bit, burn some calories, little stress, little tension, because day could clutter you. Even if you have the smoothest day, by the end of the day, you're pretty, you've been around. Your brain is wired to a lot of things. You see a lot of things. You need to detox. Your body's intoxicating in some ways just because you've been up so much. You need that laying down, sleeping time. But also, you can't sleep too much during the day and sleep all day because it's more like a night thing. You should sleep at night, though. Even if someone like works a night shift like I do in the industry and all that, you got to work a little bit like much as you can. But days you're off, try to sleep and don't become a completely night person. It's very hard, but you got to try to sort of combat it a little bit, just balance it a little bit. Days you're not working, sleep early. When you leave work, go to sleep. Even though I've left work and I've still been out sometimes, but it's good to like get the sleep, bro. Re-energize your body. Be careful with energy drinks, but if you drink them, hey, he helps you stay up. Coffee, I think, helps in the morning, and even sometimes a few times at night, depending when.
Yeah, energy drinks can be beneficial. Sometimes I like to drink like coffee or an energy drink the first thing in the morning. Sometimes later in the day. So like caffeine doesn't really affect me when I go to sleep really at night. So everybody's body's different. I know some people, if they drink caffeine at this time, they'll be able to go to bed like in like a few hours. They will not be able to pass out. Because it keeps them up, it rewires them. For me, it's not always like that, and I don't really drink caffeine a lot of times later in the day. I kind of do it earlier in the day, but sometimes I just need to pick me up. Today was a hell of a day mentally with work, so in order to do the podcast, a little bit of caffeine is not really going to hurt me. It's like 200 milligrams. For me, I have a high tolerance, so it's going to be all right for me. Although I did have coffee as well, but. It's just an energy drink helps me going. I don't really drink like a pre-workout or anything like that before the gym. In the morning, I'll drink coffee or something like that. But like I know people like my brother, he drinks pre-workout every single morning. See, I'm not somebody who really drinks a lot of pre-workout. So essentially, that is my pre-workout. But yeah, morning routine's important, guys. Keep your skin healthy. Wake yourself up. Cold shower. Like I know it's another cliche. Cold showers, 5 minutes in the shower can wake you up in the morning. Just jump in, freezing cold, wake yourself up, jolt your system, brush your teeth, get your grooming
Open
habits on
your
point,
Mhm.
journal, get a quick workout. Even if you're only working out 20 to 30 minutes, whatever the case may be, go out. If you're going to take a walk, whatever it is, let the air hit your skin, get outside, do what you got to do. Mindfulness, working, preparation, organization, whatever it is. Sometimes I know some people even take like a drive in the morning, just like a quick 10-minute drive.
I've done it
Whatever
before. I do it before I go to
um,
sleep sometimes. I might do like a walk or run. I like to walk around at night because there's less people to interact, but I can do it in the morning too. Not early morning, even though I've done it too, like for fights and all that, but like 7 in the morning, more like between 7 and 9. I go out and around 9 in the morning, 8:30. It's not a bad time either. 8:30 is good. It's like a decent time.
yeah, for sure. It's not a bad time at all. Like working out sometimes. Sometimes I'll work out after the podcast tonight, right? And, it's the gym's a lot more quiet. You're able to kind of focus and lock in to whatever you're doing, whatever your workout is, which is sometimes nice. Early in the morning, too, to be honest. If you're up first thing in the morning, hit the gym. A lot of people ain't in there. Now, when you go like right after work, like 5 o'clock, you're there earlier, like you're at the later portion of the morning. That's when a lot of people kind of file in, right? Because I'll tell you what, like a lot of people don't really have the discipline to either work out very late at night or to get up super, super early. You can get there at like 5 or 6 to work out beforehand. It takes a lot of discipline. Marius said night drives are the
Night
best.
drives are the best. Yep, I've seen the same thing.
Yeah, I don't do them all the time, but night drives are nice. If you just put on some relaxing music and are able to kind of focus in and drive, but obviously be alert and pay attention, but also be able to kind of lock in with your thoughts when it's just you. Sometimes after a long day, say you went from like one job to your side hustle to a workout, so you got kids and you got family and all these other things. And then, like, you have a little bit of time to yourself. Maybe take a 10-minute drive and just be able to kind of collect your thoughts. Sometimes it's important.
Helps.
Night drives are nice. Sometimes people's night drives are after work, though. So it might not be a 9 to 5 job. You might be working a 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. job. I remember those days working overnight. Sometimes I would get done work and I would take a morning drive as the sun's kind of coming up, which it's different depending on what your way of life is and what your schedule is. I would say. Samari said night drives are the best. Benita said if you don't do your morning routine in the morning, do you have off day? Yeah. So I mean, every day
it can be.
Let's be honest. I try to stay pretty routine and disciplined to my days, but being completely transparent, there's days where I fall off. Where I don't get to bed till a little later, and I don't wake up in time to do it. And I just kind of have to kind of hop into work. Now, it kind of makes me feel a little off on those days. It's better if those are planned, but sometimes it's just you got to listen to your body. You might be in pain. You might not be able to hit the gym that day. You go and you try to push forward and you try to do as much as you can, but sometimes it's just in order to prevent injury, you got to be careful. But I'm not perfect in any way whatsoever. I'm not perfect. So this is essentially to where I'm at right now in the fall of 2022. This is something I try to do every single day. This week I've been very good with it. But last week I slept up a couple days where I didn't do that, but I try to stay pretty consistent with it. At the end of the day, we're human. We all have a human element to us. So we're not perfect. We're not robots. Things happen. But I always have the mindset, if I can do this the majority of the days throughout the week, it's going to land me in a better place going forward. Those are good questions.
That's a good idea.
George, how about you? You have off days?
Yeah, there's definitely some off days, and there's days I can't get everything done. I have off days and days that they're kind of like 50-50. I feel like accomplished looks. I get some stuff done, but not exactly how I want it to go. And a lot of time it doesn't really exactly go how I want it to go. But like I said, man, I get as much as I get done, whether it's at the gym, work on my side hustle, get stuff done, work on my endeavors, check out all the stuff I got to do, handle my business, These days, bro, I'm trying to do a lot more as far as, side businesses. I'm kind of collecting people that do or have side businesses and working behind the scenes with them and doing some deals. There's people here that come to the club, that come to my other job, that, what I mean? That are around, that we do a lot of business like once a month maybe. And we meet up at least we speak at least 3 or 4 times a month, but we meet up once in a blue to, like you said, like mentors and all that, to discuss new stuff. So that's also part of my routine, bro. And to add on to something Mary said, somebody said earlier, for me, night drives are great, but also looking at the sky at night. So I'm more like higher ground, especially like where I live is more suburban-like. my main house, up this way, bro. It's just like nothing but stars here. But now you go to PA, bro, where my stepbrother lives in upstate PA. Oh man, it's nothing but stars. That shit's like fucking Aladdin, bro. Lion King. That's just like because it's in the middle of like Lancaster, York, PA. It's not a lot of buildings there. It's a lot of like mini hills and some mountains, if you will. Yeah, out there you might counter a coyote, not a coyote. What do you call that? A jackal on the way back to because it's still PA, but it's like past Amish land in the middle of nowhere a little bit. So yeah, it's a lot of stars out there. That's also very relaxing. You can definitely. It's like a good habit to watch the stars and kind of be inspired a little, and then just get something cool. I like to do it when I do something very hard. I get something out the way, and I need to go out for a little to get some air. I'll go out and just relax a little bit, look at the stars, something like that. Like if I did a test or a 4-hour class or something very hard, or I had a clusterfuck in my mind. Afterwards, I remember when I did a term paper. Mary's there for this one. He remember this one. I did a term paper for a class I had back in 2014. Dude, I was for a computer, bro. When I got up, my eyes were spinning like this, bro. I thought I was in a movie. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I was completely like my mind was out of it. Sitting in front of a computer for 3 hours typing and fixing up a paper, trying to be perfect, it can make you go crazy. Like I was going loco. I got up, I left, met up my cousin on the corner from Holy Family, smoked a J. That didn't help much. I went back up there, bro, finished that. And then when I actually finished it, I remember I didn't even go to class that day. I went the next time, but I heard that he actually switched it and give us a week in advance, like extension. So I brought it next week and I did good. But after that day, man, I had to get up and like look at the sky a little. My fucking mind was spinning, bro. Literally 3 hours. I had to even skip a class for that shit, and go and do this term paper because he was very strict. He wanted everything to be done, a certain way. But he was a really good teacher, though, and the presentations, I mean, they rocked. I remember me and him, Marius, both got excellent grades in that particular project, and he was a very hard grader, this teacher. They prepare you for college. I mean, the good ones. Some teachers are okay, some are better than others, But
yeah, man, they prepare you for the real world.
Yeah.
Preparation.
People can say what they want. College is a scam, this and that, but it helps. I mean, teachers will help you as much as they can, especially those that that you care, and they'll give you some insights. And I'll tell you what, you might be in debt, but at least you went to college. When you don't go, man, and you haven't really been anywhere, it's much better to go. Let's put it that way. I just leave it at that, But yeah,
true. Man, so that was morning routine kind of covered. Like I said, I don't have a super disciplined night routine right now, being completely transparent at this point. In 2020, I did at that point where I covered this. Night routines. One of the things that I do every single night is I do keep a skincare routine where I'm washing my face every single night. I do things to kind of maybe settle myself in a little bit, whether it's I like to turn the brightness down on my phone. So if I am doing stuff on my phone, if I'm doing something on my phone, I turn the brightness down a little bit so I don't really have all that, what do they say, a blue light hitting my face, because it honestly can disrupt your sleep pattern when you're trying to sleep a little later. So I always have that. And sometimes I'll turn my phone on do not disturb mode. I also like to sometimes light a little candle. I don't do this every night, to be honest. I got one actually lit right now. I always do that for podcast time. I always have a some type of candle lit,
like a ritual, huh? Candle
as we're doing the podcast. That's always it's speaking of routines. That's routine right there. I always got the candle. I always got a candle lit.
Gotcha.
I always have my setup, but I'll light a candle sometimes. But you got to be careful with that. Make sure that you're not falling asleep, because you don't obviously want to fall asleep with a lit candle.
Wax the candle.
That could be problems. Yeah, because
you observe a lot of that shit from the candle, the carbon dioxide. No, especially if it's like smoking.
Very careful.
Right.
But I will say, I also like to play on some soothing music, times relax. I like to just unplug, essentially. I'll text people and things like that, and maybe a quick phone call. But I try to ultimately have nothing that's really related, even if I am talking to people that I know it's not business related. I try to just unplug for anything business related, like an hour before I'm going to sleep. Because you don't want too much of that going on in your mind. You don't want thinking anything like that, or being in that mindset, that work mindset before you're going to sleep at night. So it gets rather simple, easier said than done sometimes. But that's a rather simple habit that I do. Sometimes it's been the fall, right? It's October now, Halloween season. I'm a little crazy. Sometimes I'll put on a little Halloween movie, some type of horror movie before I pass out. I'm not doing that as of late, to be quite honest. Right now in October. So sometimes people are like, you're crazy for doing that, but I don't know. It's sometimes.
Well, I watch too. Before I go to sleep, I watch some scary movies, or especially Halloween, but. It's probably better if you don't, they say. But I mean, who hasn't watched a scary movie at night? Then when you got home, you went to sleep. It gets a little scary, but you're good.
Yeah. Sometimes reading before going to
reading
sleep.
is
But
a
it's a
good one. That's
hardcover
actually a
book
big
or
one.
listening to an audiobook or something like that or a podcast can be nice, but you got to also be careful because if you get into a really good book and kind of keep you up, right, it can kind of impede your sleep.
Well, you forget,
You gotta be
yeah,
careful
your
of
phone will steal your time. Just because you're laying down, don't mean you're asleep. It's considered when you put your phone away, your TV goes to sleep, and there's no noise, and you actually fall asleep because you can fall asleep or try to fall asleep, but you're watching TV the whole time, and it's just not the same thing. You know, you're kind of like forgetting. Now it's like 11:30, 12:45. You're like, oh, I'm supposed to sleep at like 11. You know.
Yeah, so you're right. A book can be distracting sometimes.
Yeah, that's definitely one of mine, bro.
Another,
Book, bro. Possibly playing a quick video game, like if I have like the PS3 or PS4 in my room, which I do by the way. I got one of them, and then I have a PS2 and a PS3 downstairs, too, in the basement, and sometimes I stay down there. Although I don't really sleep very much in the winter or fall, so I'll play a quick little game or two, bro. Like Call of Duty, some Undisputed, some UFC, some MMA game, some boxing game, maybe like a little FIFA, a little NBA, NBA Live, sometimes even Madden. I used to play that, but mostly Call of Duty or something like the what's it called? What's it called, bro? The Redemption game. I forgot the name of it. One with the horses and shit like that. I forgot. I can't think of it right now. But I'll play a quick game, But if I do that, I'd rather play that than watch TV a little. I don't want to just play video games and my mind is all like clustered and just go to sleep right away. I do that. I'll turn it off. Like you said, watch a quick little. A movie, at least a couple, a little scene or two, and then I put on sleep. So you'll by the time I fall asleep, kind of like TV dies out. It's just like it goes to sleep by itself because you press the sleep option. So that's another way I kind of like to fall asleep, bro. But yeah, music is good though. Some of those binaural beats I was telling you about. I think I mentioned it one time I was talking to you and Desi or something like that. But those beats, bro, like those types of like flossy music, like it's like the water flowing. It's quiet, it's peaceful, it's very, very soothing for the ear, very, very relaxing. It gives like a peace of mind. They say that you listen to those whole sleep is good. Some even say they help you dream, have like nice dreams and all that, but I don't know. I guess it does, I never really done it like that for that reason, but I just did it to help me sleep and all that because it sounds so cool and peaceful, and I've done it when I put it on for a while, and then I didn't even fall asleep. But before I actually fell asleep, 45 minutes in, I turn it off, my phone or whatever, the music. I just actually, I go back to sleep, and then I just completely fall asleep. The best sleep is a rapid eye movement, REM sleep, rapid eye movement. That's the best sleep, and that's actually because you're at a stage where now deep, REM sleep, and then you deep sleep after that. It's before deep sleep, but before the light sleep, where you're like not quite asleep. You're like your body's asleep. I'm sorry, yeah, your body's asleep, but your mind is not quite there. Yeah, that's like a little funny, sort of like a in between realm, if you will, in between. So sort of like sector or section there. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's a lot of people have nightmares and sleep paralysis as well when they're like not full in a REM sleep, but not quite asleep all the way because it happens about 15 minutes in the sleep session. But the best sleep is when you just like sleep, bro, comfy. You're REM sleep. You have no real issues. Nothing can wake you up, and you're just in deep sleep. But again, sleeping at night's better. Sleeping in the morning is cool, but you don't sleep like it is like a nice sweet sleep, but you don't sleep too much after 10, bro. Even on days you're off. I mean, unless you just don't sleep much, but after 11, it just gets a little stagnant sleep and it just gets a little too much. It just 11:30, 12. Because I mean, 12 is noon technically. So I mean, if you sleep till noon, you slept essentially the whole morning.
Yeah, and if you have work that day, that can't happen anyway. So
if you have work, forget it.
Exactly. Crazy. Like I said, I don't really have a crazy morning routine. We're actually kind of like at the 16, so I'll probably wrap up in a few minutes. Something crazy I kind of saw earlier. I know this is kind of not proportionate to the topic, but I was in Punta Cana 1 year ago today. I went from the 18th to like the 23rd. I was in Punta Cana this time last year in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, you're saying that's right. I remember that.
I was back there. Crazy.
I did the podcast the one time. I did a couple. I missed one episode in October and I did the rest of them. And I had a couple guests. And then you came back and you met some of the guests and all that. Also reminds me, I talked to you about the scenes, bro. So this is episode 102. For like, once we get like the first 10 in the hundreds, we can do it for 110. We can be like an episode where we bring some people that haven't been there yet, or they might still to come, and people that missed the last one, because a lot of our guests from both sides couldn't make it. But maybe you can do one where we bring some of the people that kind of missed out and a few of the ones that already made it. You know what I mean? So there was something we spoke about around 99. We kind of like had spoke about around like 98, 99, going on 100. They're like because 100 obviously going to be a big one, and obviously, it was a great one. I mean, salute everybody that came. We had fun. We had a good episode. So for 110, because 105 is a little too soon, and again, we have a lot of guests lined up and all that as well, and it was a lot of good future episodes to bring in. So maybe for 110, we'll do like another like mini kind of like party. We'll get together and bring some people that have been in the past, some that made it to 100, but some that weren't there. Give them a chance to kind of make it. I mean, it's only so many slots available anyway, so
yeah,
for people to come
exactly.
in. So
let me
see.
exactly.
What, a minute left.
Yeah, so guys, I'm probably gonna wrap up right here. Those are our nighttime routines, honestly, and our morning routines as well. Some small habits. So I don't have a crazier nighttime routine for you at the moment, but that's kind of just where I'm at right now, the fall of 2022. George, any closing comments before we wrap up here? Any shout outs?
Not really. I mean, just basically, want to give a big thank you and a shout out and a lot of appreciation and gratitude to all of our viewers, our folks that support us. Some of our, people like they're in our comment section, here in our sort of like community section on the group, if you will, on IG, people that have been here in the past. I mean, we didn't have a guest last week. Everybody else, we kind of like mentioned that as well, who came last time. But yeah, we'll probably be on the lookout for, obviously 103 is coming up next week, but also be on the lookout for something by like 110, which is a couple episodes. It's probably about a month away. But yeah, you know what I mean? It's getting there. And just it's been a nice full season so far, man. It's been sweet, Eagles are 6-0. Hey. Trying to figure out ways to make money. The podcast is looking good, and just grateful, bro. I mean, I don't have nothing else to really say as far as that. As far as today's top, yeah, let's go Birds. As far as today's topic, it was a good one. Definitely some good points there. And again, there's ways you can do, how to make your nights better. How to make, how to do different things. Kind of like conserve time. Do things at a certain time is very important. I've kind of mentioned in the past and earlier today. Skin routines. I like to do it either morning or night. I could be both. I could do it at nighttime, shave up and do what I gotta do. I could do it during the day or during the morning, depending on when.
Yeah. One thing I want to see is, guys, I want to see what your morning routines look like and what your nighttime routines look like. So if you're watching this right now or you're watching it after the fact, drop them comments down below so we can see what your morning and nighttime routine looks like. Also, if you have any habits that we didn't talk about here, what habits do you have? Small habits or large habits, whatever that have played a big integral role in your life, to help you with stress and to honestly be a little bit happier.
Yeah.
Let us know.
You can also comment. Let us know. You can comment via email. DM or email or even chats here. This is like a super chat, basically. It's basically we're on YouTube and somebody comments. This is considered a super chat, or the comments as we call them, but because as you know, these comments do go away after, unless you just comment from YouTube, of course, or you're just there on a video. But yeah, so you can reach out to us various ways. Also, kind of be looking for the next episode, and you can comment on the IG pages as well. And yeah, definitely just be on the lookout. We don't want to say too much. Like we never really expand too much or show you guys too much. We just kind of bring it to you guys when it's ready. But we have some big guests coming up. We have guests that have been here before. Big ones are coming up again. And we're in the process. We're in the works of trying to bring you guys, some very interesting people. And again, we have not one but two good guests. One has been with us already, and he's definitely he's a kind of like a Philly legend. He's a legend in many cities that he's been in, and a big name. Former player, Philly legend for sure. Legend. Even though he's not a Philadelphian, let's be clear, he's from Texas, but he's a Philly legend and somebody around here. Also, another guy, a friend of mine that's going to be coming on the podcast soon, and a guy who has his own podcast as well. So. Oh, yeah, Vanita, I got the same one. Fall asleep on the couch at night. That's actually a very bad habit. Get that habit out of there. That's one of my habits.
Let's take it out of there.
Yeah, it's cool and all, but you just sleep in your bed. It's much better than the couch. To be a couch potato.
That's a funny one.
Yeah. Anything else to say, bro? I'm about to
be honest, that's kind of where I'm at. It's October 2022. We're 1 week away from Halloween, essentially my birthday, my 30th birthday.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Next month we might have some good coverage for you. So this one should be interesting. I'm actually going to be in Florida, in Miami, Florida, and I'm gonna be in there on a Thursday when we usually go live for the podcast. So George, that one should be interesting, man. Maybe I'll do a collab from Miami, from the phone. While I'm down there. I'm not sure what the Wi-Fi situation will be like, but I'll try to maybe do a collab from straight South Beach. next month. I will be away.
If we're both there, bro, they'll be cool. We can do it from there. If I'm here, you're there. We'll collab. Well, we'll figure it out first. But if the Wi-Fi and the technology gods want it, well, we can get in. We can do a Locked In podcast via a little more long distance, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So we'll see what the time what happens with that, because it's the 14th to the 18th, so it's less than a month away. For 14th to the 19th, something like that.
Yeah. Well, that should be interesting. Like I said, that should be very interesting. So that's key how that goes.
But guys, 102 is in the books. We will be back 103, 104, and 105. Should be very interesting. George and I actually do monthly meetings where we kind of set up our next few episodes. We got one coming up within this week, so planning out the content for the website, planning out the future episodes, a lot of good things in the works, and then finding a way to honestly just keep growing and keep building, keep thriving, and delivering to you guys the best content. Because if we can keep growing, that's going to make it a lot easier for us to continue what we're doing here. So, guys, share, like, subscribe. We appreciate it.
Same here, man.
That being said,
we appreciate it.
That being said, this has been a Locked In podcast production. I'll just leave you with 2 words: be true and be you. And also, 2 sentences: be true and be you. And the other one is focus on you. Others will
and
too.
Others will too. Yep. Go on. All right, guys. It's been real.
It's been Steve Ushler and George Menchai, the Locked In podcast, episode 102, guys. That being said, we'll see you next week for episode 103. Have a great weekend.
On Thursday.
Go Phillies. Go Phillies. Go Eagles.
Flyers.
Go Philadelphia Sports. Tonight is the Philadelphia 76ers home opener. They played the other night, but tonight's the home opener. Go Sixers. And also, it's Thursday night. Go Union. Well.
Union. Yeah. Playoffs. They're doing really well.
Exactly. They're playing the playoffs tonight, so it's a good time for Philly sports. So if you're in the
Philly's doing great in all sports, man. We're gonna have another one of that, but they're doing well. So
cherish this.
Cherish this, yeah.
As with that being said, have a great night. We'll see you next week for episode 103. Peace.
Good night, guys. Have a good weekend. Peace.